My name is James Leverton, and this is my presentation on widening participation through expert coaching in walking football. So what is walking football? Walking football was created by John Crute in 2011 with the purpose of the sport being for recreation and physical activity for strictly over 50s. There is a competitive element to the sport in leisure leagues for fun run by the governing body Walking Football Association, the WFA, all the way to the Walking Football World Cup, which is run by the Federation of International Walking Football Association, the FIWFA. Walking football is very similar to association football, however, it's strictly no running, just walking, as stated in the title of the sport. The format of the walking football are played in either 5 or 6-a-side matches, in and outdoors. Walking football is a non-contact sport to reduce injury, although tackling is allowed. It's a great way to keep fit and healthy and improves mental and social aspects as well as just physical. A social theory I've looked at is Zygmunt Bauman's post-industrial society, where most people playing walking football will come from are traditional working class backgrounds. In them times, they didn't have much time to play sport, and socialising was limited due to work and families at a young age, with it being the baby boomer generation, meaning they came from nothing as the war took from them. But in modern times, they have lots of time due to retirement and their children moving out, leaving them with not much to do. Elderly parents then need exercise and sport to help their health. Another social theory I've looked at is the theory of habitus. Pierre Bourdieu talks about habitus and its 5 types of capital: social capital, economic, physical, symbolic, and cultural capital. Physical capital, which I'm going to focus on, is normally low for elderly people due to their lack of peak level of fitness to be low. However, Longman 2016 states that Ed Whitlock, an 84-year-old man, is still running marathons and holds the fastest marathon ran by someone over 80. Research shows that Whitlock has a VO2 max of 54 when the average age of 80 is 20 VO2 max. Therefore, there are anomalies to physical capital where the person exercises regularly. Dubos states that social capital is where you stand in the hierarchy. In a sports context, if a youth team footballer got promoted into the first team, he would have low social capital, as he will be thought of having a worse performance than a first team player. So the elderly have a low social capital, as they are commonly portrayed as being bad or not being able to move during sports. Pierre Bourdieu's concept of habitus talks about where you sit in the world. For walking football is baby boomers. The social capital is low because persona of older people is forgotten and pushed out of society. Physical capital is also low for old people, as people's persona of old people is they're not very good or can't move during sport, or a lack of mobility. My political ideology of walking football. Walking football's governing body is the WFA, which is a not-for-profit company from about international walking football. States it's the same governing body running the Federation of International Walking Football Association, the FIWFA, which is to do with the World Cup of Walking Football. Lana 2003 shows that walking football has a neoliberal view, as it's a reduction in government funding, as it's privately funded by the WFA. This also reduces costs on the NHS, as over 65s cost 2/5 of the NHS spending. But with walking football being a healthy exercise and giving them structure in their lives, there will be a greater health benefits leading to a reduction in spending to the NHS. Participation is low in walking football due to the lack of coverage. The only coverage on walking football was when legend Bobby Charlton's brother played in the World Cup, having never played association football. To help participation grow, the government could campaign to raise awareness of the sport and its health and social benefits and impacts on the NHS it can have. So why should elderly people participate in walking football? Well, Wilson and Platt's 2018 suggests participation for personal well-being, the PPW, which is taking part for personal progression such as social life, meeting new people, as the older generation need a greater social life as they may be retired and have nothing else to do. Also, for personal progression, as some may have never played the sport before, so for them it will be about being the best they can be and how much they can improve or score goals. Also, people would like to participate as for the inclusivity of the sport. It's strictly for over 50s. Men and women can both join. Over 50s have the persona of being cast away from other sports due to social and physical capital being low. Of the modern generation with the mindset of elderly are not very good or can't do sport due to mobility and age. How I built my philosophy. Burton and Rodeck states that a well-developed philosophy, both for competition and for life, guides us every day and helps us interpret events happening in our lives, whilst giving direction to lives we live. I look to my beliefs and values which I take into my day-to-day life and coaching. My values are integrity, respect, responsibility, as I believe without these three, my beliefs won't work in my coaching or life, as if I don't promote integrity by having poor moral principles, I won't be inspiring anybody to become a better person. So my beliefs are enjoyment, honesty, commitment, to inspire, and dedication. I'm big on enjoyment, as you can see on all the children's faces, they're all smiling, and I feel like if they aren't, then I'm not doing my job properly, and I'm not having fun either doing my job. My philosophy. As a coach, I will add integrity, responsibility, and respect into my sessions, as this will help engage with the athletes more through mutual respect between player and coach. In my day-to-day life, I tend to be honest with myself and others, committed to everything I set out to do with a dedication to succeed. Lastly, everything I do in life or coaching has to be done for enjoyment. And then this philosophy will help me coach my icebreaker session for walking football, as most will be there for the social and enjoyment benefit of the sport, where that will be brought out in my coaching style, using enjoyment as a big factor in my session. We're also using personal progressions and challenges for the athletes that want to progress in their abilities. My session, stated last slide, is an icebreaker session for walking football. So for this session, I've used 3 learning outcomes using the FA 4-corner model, which states that sessions should evolve around all 4 corners in the top right on the screen. So you've got the social, technical, tactical aspects, psychological and physical. So my first learning outcome is to be able to control the ball and pass to a teammate effectively in 3 touches of the ball. That is a technical and physical outcome. My next learning outcome is to learn a minimum of 5 teammates' names by the end of the session. That is a social aspect. And my last learning outcome is to have a vague understanding of the rules in walking football. That is a tactical and psychological aspect. Firstly, in my session, I will get them in a team meeting to meet each other for 10 minutes, doing what I've created, the rhyming name game, where they will go around the circle saying their names, but it has to have a rhyming word before your first name. For example, my name is James, so it would be Jammy James. The next person could be Tango Tavia, so on and so forth. Then the challenge in this drill is if you can go around the circle remembering everyone's rhyming name. This is to promote my learning outcome to learn a minimum of 5 teammates by the end of the session, the social corner. My next practice, so this practice here, is a 15-minute passing and moving warm-up drill. While using the visual aid whiteboard and a demonstration to show what we are doing, which is with the ball in their hands to start, throw the ball to another player in the circle by calling their name and then follow your pass by walking. Every 3 minutes, they will stop from walking and following the pass to do a dynamic stretch, e.g. heel flicks, high knees, side steps, all walking motions. A progression of this is to put the ball on the floor and pass with their feet. A next progression would be to use 2 balls if they've got the hang of it, depending on the quality of the group. The challenge for the more talented players then is to have 1 touch to receive and 1 touch to pass. 2 touches maximum. Then after that, we'll go into a 5-minute explanation of the game of walking football using a whiteboard and clear visual aids. Explaining that it is on a 35 by 60 metre pitch. The rules are no walking, otherwise free kick to the opposite team. No running, for 6 players on each team. No balls over head high, otherwise it's a free kick. If the ball goes out for a throw-in, it's used as a kick-in. The ball is kicked in the floor. Corners are as usual. Goal kicks if the ball goes out by the byline by the opposition team. There's no offsides in walking football, and a goal is scored when the ball goes in the back of the net. Then we move on to his gameplay. So a bit of fun. So 25 minutes of match play. There's 3 teams, two teams playing each other and 1 team on the outside. The first team to score wins and the winner stays on. Losing team goes on the outside and the outside team takes the team on the pitch's position. So my justification of my session is I've chose the session at a time slot of 5 till 6 p.m. as some may still be coming from work, and plus it can't be too late because the older generation predominantly go to bed early, so they'll be too tired to train. I've used lots of repetition in my session throughout the session to help with understanding, so it's easier to remember for the participants. I use lots of visual aids and demonstrations to show the practice clearly, as some participants may have a loss of hearing, so this will give them a clear understanding of what to do. It's non-contact throughout the session. This is all to reduce pain, discomfort and injuries through low impact exercises. Players on the outside of the match in the last drill are to feel involved and encourage banter to improve social aspects and enjoyment into the session. Exercise is a great way to reduce modern chronic diseases such as coronary heart disease, stroke and many more, and the primary prevention through exercise for these diseases. And then finally at the end, in my debrief, I would do a key points at the end of the session to show for understanding. So firstly, I'd pick out 3 participants to give me 5 people's names that they've learned from the session to show that they have been integrating with the teammates. Then I'd pick out different 3 people to explain at least 2 rules in walking football to show for understanding of the rules, tactical, corner, and ask the players for feedback on the session. Did they enjoy it? And would they come back again? So lastly, this is my reference list, my full reference list. Thank you for listening. Thank you.